The narrative power summit is landing in the 6. This is about ownership.
This is about controlling our story. If you're serious about narrative power, strategy, and ownership, this is the room you need to be in. To get your tickets, go to africandiasporanews.org/Canada. I'll see you in Toronto.
Hello, ADNC family. I hope all is well. Emma Ansah coming to you live. And it's a nice day today. I think we're finally getting a little bit of spring weather, which is making me very happy because we're seeing more sun. We're seeing elevated temperatures. So I'm happy. It's Tuesday. And we got another important topic to discuss before we get into the topic. And while we're waiting for people to join, as you can see, LaSharika is saying that you need to come to Toronto to the ADNC Narrative Power Summit, and you'll have the opportunity to meet the ADNC team. And that's on July 25th here in Toronto. And I expect to see everybody come out. I have put the link to purchase tickets in the description field, so be sure to run over and grab your tickets. There is an early bird special rate on tickets, so I expect everybody to be there. Hey, Teresa, thanks so much for joining. Hey, Sandia Naris. Nice to see you. Hey, Buckhorse. Thank you so much for joining. All right. So today's topic, we're going to talk about OSAP, and that is Ontario Student Assistance Program. And this is funding that's given to students who are going to university. And in the past, or I should say in the past, because it is a past thing now, but Ontario's Premier Doug Ford has now slashed this funding. And the students are not happy about it, and rightfully so, in my opinion, because in the past, the way it was worked out is that it was more heavy on grants, and these grants would be used for tuition, books and equipment, fees, living expenses like rent, food, all of that stuff. So students can, go to school, right? And not have to worry about all of those expenses, and they can focus on their schooling. So the grants that they were giving was about 85% grant, and then it was around 25% loan. And now with Doug Ford slashing it, it is now gone to 75% loan and 25% grant. So that would mean that students would be only owing like a whole bunch of money. So you got that added stress while you're trying to be in school. A lot of them are probably going to have to get part-time jobs, which takes away from their studies and what have you. So needless to say, as I said, these students are mad, big mad. And as I said, rightfully so. So Ontario's Premier Doug Ford has been, getting a lot of backlash and a lot of emails and letters. And we're going to listen to what he has to say and how he rationalizes why they've done what they've done. And then we're also going to hear from some students, because there was a massive protest that took place as a result of this change. And we'll hear from the students. And then we'll also hear from this one Black content creator that mainstream media used, in my opinion, as a scapegoat to say this is, justifies or backs up what Doug Ford is saying as one of the reasons why he's slashing it. So let's listen to Doug Ford first. We'll talk some more, and then we'll go through the rest of the information that we have here.
From students about OSAP, that's getting thousands, trying to just...
Toronto, July 20th.
Family, I am so sorry. I don't know why. You just gotta love live, don't you? Let's start all over. Let us hear what Doug Ford has to say.
The situation that Ontario was facing wasn't sustainable any longer. We're putting in, by next year, $7 billion a year into our colleges and universities. I mentioned to the students, you have to invest in your future, into in-demand jobs, because a lot of the students, I'm not one to say, you're picking basket weaving courses, and there's not too many baskets being sold out there. Go into healthcare, go into trades, go into jobs of the future. Focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Those are where the jobs are. I've heard some nightmare stories on the other side as well, about kids going out there buying fancy watches and cologne and not needing it. And that doesn't fly with the taxpayers, I'll tell you that.
Okay, so Doug Ford is saying that $7 billion. He's talking about basket weaving courses. I didn't even know that the basket weaving courses was a thing in university, but it turns out it is. Carleton University, University of Waterloo, Fleming College, and my Ontario people know where that is. I'm like, wait a second, there's actually basket weaving courses? But anyway, nevertheless, I digress. I guarantee you that basket weaving courses is not the reason why this funding has been cut. And as far as that comment about cologne and watches, we'll get to that. But let me just show a bit of the protest and let's listen to some of the responses that some students have to say about him saying this, about they're going and buying cologne and watches and stuff, because the students are very vocal about this. Because, you know, even if that's the case, there is some people that are doing that, you can't expect that every student that's out here in these universities across Ontario deserve to have this funding cut from them over a few people that may be doing that. But anyway, let us just listen to what some of the students have to say, and then we'll talk some more.
A premier who didn't have to worry about whether or not he is able to afford post-secondary, and in fact didn't even graduate at all. When the premier goes on national television and tells students that they're spending OSAP on watches and colognes, it's a slap in the face to all of us. Please do not generalize us. The vast majority of students are in need, not looking for spending money. It's easy to sit in a high chair at Queen's Park with a $200,000 salary and lecture students and their families about responsibility. But for many families, mine included, that single salary exceeds our household income. So it's rich coming from a premier who didn't have to worry about whether or not he is able to afford post-secondary, and in fact didn't even graduate at all. The majority of us don't have that privilege. So I'd suggest the leaders and decision makers here at Queen's Park talk to some real people. Get out in the community and consult. It's not too late to say sorry. It's not too late to acknowledge that this decision was misguided. And it's not too late to have a real conversation about education in this province instead of dismissing the people that it has an impact on.
At the end of the day, the decisions that the government is making is affecting all of us, and we all have a stake in this issue.
He's turning Ontario into a dumpster fire, and it's got to stop.
He's making young people out to look like they're the bad guys.
Doug Ford and the government have to reverse this change.
We're not privileged like you. We just want to get our education.
The fact that he's scapegoating some TikTok kid.
That guy also works 3 full-time jobs.
To afford school.
We are coming together. We are united, and we will continue to make our demands clear.
Doug, you must be jealous you did not get an education. You must be jealous of us because we, the working class, is what's going to power the world, not you.
And I don't want to live in a world where only the richest people can afford education.
Well, as somebody with 5 siblings and a single mother, OSAP has helped my family tremendously, and taking that away from us would result in my siblings probably not even be able to go to school.
So you've heard some students. So as I said, there was a protest, in at Parliament Hill, and the students are speaking up because, again, you are cutting these people's OSAP. And as I said, it was 85% grants. And now you're expecting them to only get 25% grant, and then a 75% is loan. So imagine having to pay all this back. And oftentimes OSAP helps low-income families as well. So this is so wrong of Doug Ford to do, in my opinion. And you know what? I would love for Doug Ford or any of the people provincially that are involved in making this decision to come on this platform and explain yourself, because we'll get to the because. Let us now get into the TikToker that you heard one of the students reference, saying that he has 3 jobs and they're using him as a scapegoat. because that is really what they are doing. So what happened was that young man was appearing on CityNews, I believe it was, which is one of the mainstream media outlets in Toronto. And they used a video that he had put on TikTok as an example of people using the OSAP money to buy watches in Cologne. And then they used the word fraud with, alongside him while you have the commentator speaking. So he actually showed up at the protest and had tried to have a conversation, or at least an interview with that same news outlet that did this to him, and rightfully so. So let's just take a look at how that worked out.
Who are you?
Who? What? You don't know who that is? You guys put him in front page and you don't know who he is?
No, I know who you are.
So you guys don't. I don't really like that type of journalism.
No,
what is that?
It's interesting because actually, maybe let's. I'm the journalist here.
No, I am.
Well, maybe I should interview you because. The government actually sent me one of your videos as an example. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, but why do you guys put the fraud title and then y'all put his video?
I didn't put your video anywhere.
Well, I mean, it's you guys, no?
Yeah. Oh no, we didn't.
You know, my face was shown.
It wasn't on City TV. I've never.
Nah, it wasn't.
Show me. Let's see.
You guys put a big title saying he did fraud.
Hundreds of students in Ontario is under investigation by the province.
See, this isn't my story though. There's a man in the
education.
Yeah, but you guys all work together. Okay, so how do you feel about this?
The possible
we're done here,
misuse of
we're done here.
grants
Okay,
by
I have a next
hundreds
question
of
for
students in Ontario is under
I'll
investigation
tell you
by
why. The reason that he used that though is because the government literally sent the link to your video specifically.
So you guys are mouthpiece to the government because they sent you something. You guys are using that.
That is not what we're saying. We're saying that's an example that they provided us with of why some of the
fraud though.
Okay. Thank you.
No, but
so this content creator tried to have a conversation with CityNews about that video footage they took and used, and then said OSAP fraud. Okay. And, obviously they skirted around, and she was like, oh, I'm the journalist, I'm the journalist here, not you, basically. Dismiss. And that was wrong. That was wrong. It was wrong of mainstream media to use his video, because let me be very clear about something. There are several people that are using TikTok that are going on there and saying, thank you, OSAP. Look what I bought. Look what I bought. Look what I bought. He's not the only one. But mainstream media used his video and then said OSAP fraud. And this is why Doug Ford is cutting it. And we're going to hear from him. He's going to talk about, his reasoning and justify, the video in general and what's going on with him as a result of this. So listen to what he has to say.
Example of why you should fact check everything you see, because people are using it as a scapegoat and don't know the entire situation.
The reason that he used that though is because the government literally sent the link to your video specifically.
So you guys are mouthpiece to the government because they sent you something. You guys are using that.
That is not what we're saying. We're saying
funny idea where it's like, oh, I could go on TikTok as a content creator. I am. And just show a bunch of expensive items and say, oh, I bought it with OSAP. We love you, OSAP money. The saying Ford government is investigating OSAP fraud. And then they play one of my videos. And it's like, I did not commit any type of fraud. I spent the grant money that they gave me. They didn't specify what to spend the money on. Of course, I use it for school. I was getting death threats, both on TikTok, Instagram. Like, hey, there's a bounty on his head. If you see this guy, bring him to us.
Get an interview as well.
Who are you?
Who? What? You don't know who that is? You guys put him in front page and you don't know who he is?
So as you can see, he's saying that, yes, okay, so he thought it would be funny and cute, go on TikTok and say, thank you for this and thank you for that. What I would say to that is, yeah, maybe it wasn't a good idea to go on TikTok and say that I'm buying this and I'm buying that. But As I said, he's not the only one. And as he said, he used his money for school and tuition and stuff. So unless they have a spreadsheet and they're going all the way down to the jot and tittle and penny that how much you can spend and you can't spend, it's very wrong of them to use this young man as a scapegoat, because that's what they did. They threw this young man under the bus. And as you can see, now he's getting backlash. He's getting death threats. People are, he's got a wanted poster and all kinds of nonsense. That was wrong on the part of mainstream media. You're supposed to be responsible, right? So if somebody sends you something, you're supposed to fact check it, right? Before it goes across all the news outlets. And then you have a voiceover saying OSAP fraud and put this man's, granted you blurred it, but it doesn't matter. Obviously people knew who he was. So now this poor man is getting slammed left, right, and center. So that was 100% wrong, foul behavior. Should not have done that to this young man. But again, I will caution anybody, do not go on your social media and do these kinds of things, especially as a Black person, because there could have been 50,000 other non-melanated people that did the same thing, but they only pulled the one Black man's video. So we as Black people, we are held to a different standard. That's just the reality, right? We're held to a different standard. Our reality is always different from anybody else. So we have to move with a different mindset, different process. We have to do things differently. So this is a cautionary tale, and this is a warning and an example of what can happen to us. And everybody else who may be doing the same thing will be completely ignored. So I am really sorry. Let me just say to this young man, I'm really sorry that this has happened to you. And what I will say to anybody who is issuing death threats to this man and creating bounties and all that other stuff, stop that. I understand as a student that this is frustrating, but you need to redirect your frustration to the provincial government, to those who have made this decision, because I'm telling you, whether or not Doug Ford said it's basket weaving courses you're taking or people are buying Cologne and watches, that is not the reason they made this decision. It has nothing to do with this young man. It has nothing to do with them buying watches in Cologne. It has nothing to do with that. So leave that young brother alone. That's what I'm going to say. Now, let me just talk about where I think and I wish, again, I'm going to say it again, that we can get Dougie or somebody else on this platform to explain themselves. Because now I'm going to talk about the federal government. I'm going to talk about our prime minister. And I'm going to play this moreover. I played it yesterday and I'm going to play it again. Because this whole $100 million investment that's going to be going to scholarships for Indian students in this country. Don't you think, liberal government, that the students whose OSAP has been cut aren't thinking that this might be a slight towards them? Don't you think that they would be in their feelings about a decision like this, as opposed to a young man who posted on TikTok what he bought with OSAP money? Don't you think that this might be the reason? And how about this?
It is 4 times the number in the United Kingdom. These students, these connections, deepen our ties. And so we're collaborating to build on those strengths. We've launched the new Canada-India Talent and Innovation Strategy with 13 new partnerships to deepen our ties in education. And this includes collaborations involving McGill, the University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, to work across artificial intelligence, health sciences, and digital architecture.
So you're going to cut students that are actually in there, and I guarantee you they're not all taking basket weaving courses. They're probably taking courses like what the Prime Minister just described and STEM, as Doug Ford described, okay? They're not sitting there buying watches in Cologne and taking basket weaving courses, okay? So all of a sudden, you are willing to invest in international students $100 million, and you got this whole new program going across 13 universities, and then you have students born and raised here, or students that maybe also are international students, but they're here studying, and learning something in STEM or something else. And what about them? So this is why they would be upset. So I say this again to say, here are two examples of why you need to leave this young brother alone. Two examples here. One more example, as I said, he's not the only one that's, maybe using it to buy some personal items. And part of the funds it lists here, rent, food, transportation, other expenses. Okay, other expenses is vague. So if there's a little extra, he has 3 jobs and he wants to buy himself a cologne and a watch, so what? So again, CityNews, you wrong for that. You need to retract that. And this brother needs to be safe, because what you have done to him is 100% wrong. 100% wrong. And so, again, I would love for some government official from Canada to come and explain this so that we can all understand, okay? This was 100% wrong. Bad decision. You're taking funds from students and you're putting it elsewhere, but other students can come, and you're investing millions in other students from another country. Make it make sense for us, please. But of course, you said that they're bullies. Oh my goodness. Let me just see what you guys are all saying. So you're saying anyone that's mad at YouTuber for this are, yeah, I agree. You shouldn't be mad at him, and don't make him the scapegoat, right? Thank you, Sandy Naris. Sandy Naris, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate. So you're saying this is Prime Minister. He's the one that runs this country, Buckhorse. Prime Minister Mark Carney. That's his name. So you're asking, why does Canada love India so much? Well, I mean, maybe they feel like they've got a lot to offer to the country, and so they're making all of these deals with India. I would love for a government official to come so we can ask that question and get the answer, because we're not really getting that answer. So you said govs love using groups of people against other groups of people and staying out of it themselves. Yeah, this was really bad. This was not okay. This was not okay to put this man across, and they have millions upon millions of viewers and stuff, and this poor brother is just getting slammed left, right, and center. It was so wrong. Greetings, Mike. Nice to you. Nice to see you. Let's see what else you guys saying. Mistreatment, yeah. Let's see what else you guys saying. Yes, you're saying what? Yes, what? Yes. You're saying that this is a distraction. Now people who are really in need are not getting any help. Exactly. And the thing is, be transparent about the real reasons. He said a little bit talking about $7 billion and it's not sustainable anymore. Why isn't it sustainable? Why is it that much? What can you do to make it so that the funds maybe are allocated elsewhere so that these students can continue to receive OSAP in the way that they've been receiving it, which was heavier on grants? Give us more information. Instead, you're saying they're taking basket weaving courses and $7 billion is no longer sustainable. And then people are buying watches in Cologne and then mainstream news just goes and displays some black person and says it's fraud. It's wrong. Tell us, be transparent, be transparent. Tell us Map it out. And that's the problem with a lot of the government talking points. They're always vague, or we're not getting an actual answer. It's a lot of word salad. We want all of the information. We want the truth. So you're saying that he's messing with OSAP, and he's wrong for messing with OSAP. People already have to do part-time jobs to go to school. The student debt is crushing people. That is true. It is so true. There are students that are working 20, 25 hours, part-time. And also that they're not even allowed. They're only allowed to work, I think, up to 25 hours. So now you can only work a certain amount of hours part-time, and you got to focus on your schooling. So if you're somebody that's studying STEM, then you got to be able to really be able to apply, right? And this grant was really helpful to people that are full-time students. So now with them cutting it like this, they're going to have to go to work. They'll have no choice, right? So this is wrong. This is wrong. Doug Ford, this is wrong. Canada in general is donating, or not donating, but allocating 5 point something billion, 2.5 billion to the Ukraine war, 5.5 billion on a trade deal with India, and now 100 million to Indian students. Again, when we see all of that, just like the laid eye, how do you think that makes students feel? And then you turn around and say, well, you guys are going to be cut. No, this is wrong. Yeah, but of course you're saying it's incredible. Clothes and jewelry is what they think about. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that these students aren't just sitting up there buying clothes and jewelry and not buying the things that they need for school. Like I said, there may be a small group that are doing that, but they're still in school and they still paid for their tuition and fees and what have you. Because at the end of the day, when you apply for OSAP, they work out what you're going to get based on your course load and everything that you need, right down to transportation, rent, et cetera. And then they're able to say, okay, this is how much you get. So it's a maximum of 85%. So it's not like they don't know, right? So if there's a little something extra and you can treat yourself to a watch, what's the big deal? So to say it on national television, it makes it look like it's bigger than it is, and it's not. And then to again display this man to those who are just joining, display this man, blurred or not, and then attach it to fraud. That's why he's getting so much backlash, death threats, and everything else. Wrong of them to do. Natural Kingdom, you said objectifying Black community with false suggestive propaganda. Exactly my feeling about this. Exactly my feeling. It's discriminatory, plain and simple. Yes, it is. Because like I said, it's not only Black people that are on TikTok saying, thank you, I love you. It's a trend. And it's not only Black people, but they picked one Black man and put him on the news. The nerve to be giving. Yeah, well, yeah, we would love to vote him out. Me personally, I did not vote him in, but they are the preferred government. The liberals are the preferred in this country. Canada in general is a liberal country, in my opinion. Yeah, it just is. It's a liberal country. Yes, Isaac. Isaac is saying this is going to greatly negatively affect Black students. It will. And these are Black students that are in school trying to do something, make a life for themselves, earn a living, get a good career and all of that stuff. And now they're faced with this stress. And, I've been out of school for a long time, but I can't imagine being a student with the economy as it is now in Canada, which is really atrocious. Like the economy is really rough. And talking about the fact that they may have to go get part-time jobs, the unemployment is off the chains, insane. Like the job line, like if there's a job fair, the line of people going for that one or two jobs at like a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons or what have you is all the way around the corner, around the block, and it's like extending. it's even difficult to find a job. So unemployment at a terrible rate right now, hard for students to find jobs. Then you've got 75% of this OSAP money you have to pay back. So that's now a loan. And then 25% is grant. So you have stress with trying to get your school, get your classes, get to your classes, study, all that stuff, get your homework done, your projects done. You got to go work. You can't find work. This is just the worst thing that can happen, right? So you're saying we know the luck we have as Black people. Yes, it was wrong and biased for the media to selectively demonize the brother. But you're saying, but he's grown and should have known he has to move more differently. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, we just as Black people, we don't have that luxury. We don't have that luxury in any way, shape, or form at all across the board. If we're working for a company and we're the only Black person, we have to be 10 times better. If we want a job, we've got to present 10 times better. Anything we do, we have to be next level, next level, next level. So when it comes to stuff like this, and he's a fairly popular content creator. So, when it comes to stuff like this, you never know who's watching, right? And as that reporter said for CityNews, she said it was sent. The link was sent to the Ford government. So then they used that link to back up what Doug Ford was saying about the watches in Cologne. So, it's just, we as Black people, brother, I'm really sorry that happened to you. I am. But this is just a lesson to all of us. We need to just be careful about how we move. Now, I know that there was a request for CityNews to retract that and take that down. I don't know if they did or not. I hope they do the right thing and do so now that they have the full picture. I hope so. But at this point, once it's out, it's viral, it's gone. Like everybody's, going to see it or share it or whatever. So, a lie can spread faster than anything else, right? Like super viral. So at this point, it's already out there. And this poor brother is getting, as I said, getting threats to, unalive him and all of that stuff. So let us please leave this brother alone. Leave him alone. You cannot attach what the government decision made to one Black man. Like, stop it. Even if you sit and think about it, how much sense does it make to blame this one person for the government's decision? Just think about it. Before you decide you're going to go tap, tap, tap and send him this and create flyers and bounties and all this other nonsense, leave the brother alone. Yes, he should sue them. He should sue you should be looking for a lawsuit. I agree. Yeah, that's true, Chris. We do have to get on code big time. We do. Again, we are held to a different standard, and I'm sure it's the same in the United States. We're held to a different standard. They will look at a whole bunch of reels of people saying, "We love you, OSAP," and just pick the Black one. And one. You know how many are doing it? So many. Isaac, you're saying the Canadian government should be sued and sanctioned. Well, I really do think that he should look for an attorney and look into this one for sure, because they misrepresented him. Granted, he said he was using it to buy. He thought it would be a funny thing to do, whatever, whatnot. But what they did was they defamed him by attaching it to fraud. He's not committing any fraud. If you want, I'm pretty sure he can produce evidence that he's in school. He can produce evidence that the money went towards school books and tuition and all of the things that this OSAP money gives, right? So yeah, you've got I think you got a case, young brother. I think you got a case. So you said media sold and pimped and always us. Distraction at its finest. Yeah, I agree. That's down and dirty for CityNews to do that. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. Let's see what else you guys saying. You're saying everyone should write a very brief, short, and sweet letter saying, please reduce the U.S. citizenship renunciation fee. Listen, you know what? You're not wrong, eh? People should listen, they're there for a reason. MPs, you should write to them. Everybody should just be inundating their inboxes. We have a voice and we have every right to use our voice, right? We're the ones who vote them in, right? So we got to make it count and hold them accountable and hold their feet to the fire to be like, look, you need to do something about this, about that, about this, about that. We absolutely should. I agree with you. Thank you so much, Buckhorse. Appreciate you. All right. Ontario government funded financial aid for students. Yep. Yeah. And now they want to. Yeah, it is. Tommy Salami, it is similar. Yep, it's similar. But now they want to cut it up. So it's not going to be similar anymore. So you're saying you borrow their money, go to their colleges, go to work for them, increase their wealth. Then when your income grows, you move into their communities. At this point, that's not even going to be a reality for a lot of these students. You heard one of them say that her siblings, she's got like 5 brothers and sisters, aren't even going to be able to probably aren't going to be able to go to school with this new program, this new process that they're doing now with the funding. And you're saying you wish that he would have had remained silent about it. Yeah, I do too. But, I think, again, it's a lesson learned. And I don't think that he deserves to be, his life being threatened and all that stuff. And everybody's blaming him and saying it's his fault and all that stuff. You got to stop it. So the same way Doug Ford got on camera and said that they're using watches and the money to buy watches in Cologne, he should go on camera and retract or at least help this brother out and say something, an apology or something to this brother and to the media. Don't run away from it. You put it out there. So if this brother wants to be interviewed, you should interview him. You're running away. Oh, okay. Hey, we're done here. Oh, no, talk to the brother. He was right there. You had him on camera. He was right there. So talk to him. So anyway, family, thank you so much for tuning in. I see that you guys are still saying thank you, Tommy Salami. Thank you so much. Creative and useful stuff. Students are our good future. Nurture them, encourage. Yes, Teresa, thank you so much. And just, don't do this to this poor brother. Leave him alone. Again, I will say, leave this brother alone. Leave him alone. And let's keep it about merit. The real reason they're doing this. And let's ask some questions about the funding that's going to international students, right, for that program while you're cutting OSAP. Like, I know it's a federal on that side and it's provincial, but the two can talk to each other. You can hold two things at the same time. So let's have that conversation, please. And that's what I have to say. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate you. If you haven't already downloaded the African Diaspora News Channel app, please make sure to do so. We're talking about Black people, Black-owned, Black platform where we're not censored. We can say what we want to say. We can report on what we want to report. I mean, it doesn't get that, right? So, we are restricted in so many ways as Black people. So it's important that we own our own and we control our narrative. So the African Diaspora News Channel app is that. So head over, grab your iPhone or your Android and go over to your Google store or your Apple store and download that app. And once again, we hope to see you in Toronto on July 25th. The link to purchase tickets is in the description field. Please buy a ticket and come and meet Phil, Demetra, Theo, potentially Wangel. The team is going to be pulling up to the 6. So we expect to see you there. So thank you again, everybody. I shall see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Till then, please be safe.